Hello, welcome. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Loser Club. Today I'm going to look at 10 of my favourite binge-worthy Netflix shows. This goes from things like Suits to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, comedies, dramas, something for everyone in here I believe, so stick around to find out my 10 favourite binge-worthy Netflix shows. First up on my list is a series named Atypical. Now this series is about a guy named Sam who has autism. It's about his life and how he deals with things and how his family deals with having an autistic child. It's a very heartwarming show. It's really funny, although it is heartbreaking at points. It does make you want to cry nearly every episode. So if you're not very emotional, then maybe this isn't for you.
Unless, of course, you're into that sort of thing.
But it's a really great show, which is why it's made it into my top 10. There are 3 seasons of this with a 4th on its way as well. So a lot of watching for you. Second up, we've got one of my all-time favourite shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This stars people like Andy Samberg and Terry Crews. It's about a group of cops and detectives that work in the 99th precinct in Brooklyn, and it just follows their day-to-day lives and what they have to do in their job. It's filmed a little bit like a documentary, the way it kind of follows them around, but it is honestly one of the funniest programs I have ever watched. I couldn't recommend it enough. There are 6 seasons of this now, with actually a 7th that is currently out on E4, and I'm sure coming out in America as well. So again, plenty to watch. The third series I want to look at is a series called Suits. Now, this was a massive show in America, and since the first episode when I watched it, I have been absolutely hooked ever since. I've now watched the series about 3-4 times over. The main premise of the show is there is a character who has a photographic memory. He went through a little bit of a bad time in his life and just accidentally somehow stumbled upon becoming a lawyer, even though he doesn't have the correct qualifications. So it basically follows him the entire way through being a lawyer without actually being a lawyer. It's also a lot to do with the relationship he has with the guy who hired him in this huge law firm, looking at how they are trying to keep it under wraps so no one finds out, but also looking at a lot of in-court law stuff as well. There's actually 9 seasons of this show, and there's loads of episodes in each season, so it's a proper binge-worthy show. However, just between you and me, the last couple of seasons are very good, so maybe just watch up to the 7th season. The 4th series I want to recommend is a program called Community. Now I'm actually watching this for the 3rd time now because I just love it to pieces. It's got some huge names in it, such as Chevy Chase, Donald Glover, or Childish Gambino if you know him like that, and Alison Brie as well. The premise of the show is that, again, a guy has found out that he doesn't have the correct qualifications to be a lawyer, so is sent back to community college to get the things that he needs. He meets this girl that's actually in his Spanish class, and he decides that he wants to try and study with her. Unfortunately, it snowballs into a study group of people that you end up following through the entire set of series. Now, obviously, in traditional kind of sitcom style, they are all completely wacky characters with loads of extra crazy characters thrown in the background as well. It's so funny, I just can't get enough of it. So if you're someone who's into things like Friends and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, then Community is without a doubt a program that you should be watching. There's 6 seasons of that as well, so there's loads of episodes to watch in there. The only problem that I have with it is that you can't skip the introductions. It's the only program I found where you can't skip the introductions. Oh, that's a big deal because it's a good intro anyway. Number 5 on my list is a series called Daredevil. Now this is part of the Marvel universe, the ones that they created for Netflix, but this is by far, for me, the best one on there. It's about a character called Matthew Murdock, who is a lawyer by day, but vigilante by night. He was actually blinded as a child, so he's actually a blind superhero that uses his heightened other senses to help him fight. It's a very action-packed set of series, so if you're not into the big fighting kind of thing, and a bit of kind of gore in there as well, then I suggest maybe avoiding this one. But if you don't mind a bit of that, or maybe if you're really into the Marvel series, I 100% recommend this show. There are 3 seasons of this as well. I believe there's 13 episodes in each season, and they're all about an hour long, so you've got a good set of things to watch there. Number 6 on my list is a very well-known program called Mad Men. Now this show I had on my list for ages, and if you've never seen it, then you were much like me, living under a rock. It was such a great decision to choose to watch it in the end, and I really recommend it to anybody. It follows the lives of a load of characters that were working in the advertising industry in Manhattan between the kind of 50s to 70s era. It's an incredibly dramatic program. It looks a lot at the sexism in those times, and it's just a very easy program to get hooked on. There are 7 seasons of this program as well, with a lot of episodes in each season, so it'll keep you going for a long time. Number 7 is a program that I've just finished recently watching, and that is The Good Place. The Good Place originally started by following one character who had died and had gone to the good place, and it's about what she was experiencing being in the good place. Obviously, nothing is that simple. There's a lot of development that happens over the next few series, and it starts to broaden out, becoming more about a group of people rather than just that first original character. It is a really funny program. It's a very unique program. I think the take on what they've gone for the program is really interesting and could actually open up a lot of debate about what the kind of experience you would find in the afterlife if there is one. I think all the actors do a fantastic job in this program. It's got Kristen Bell, Jamila Jamil, and many others. It's just such an easygoing, fun program that I think everyone should just have on their list. There's also 4 seasons of this show as well, quite a lot of episodes in each season, and they're also short. So if you're looking for a lot to watch, but not over a long period of time, then this is a really good program for that. Next up on my list is one of my all-time favorite shows, and that is Sherlock. It is an English series starring people like Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. It's another take on the Sherlock Holmes books, but I think it's my favourite take on it. It's set in a modern London, but they do such a great retelling of all those classic stories. One of the really unique things about this show is that there's only 3 episodes per season, but they are an hour-and-a-half long episodes each. So it's like watching mini movies every time. So if you're looking for something a bit different, more like a series of movies rather than watching a series of TV shows, then this is a great place to start. The acting is fantastic, the directing is amazing, just the storytelling is so well done that it should be on everybody's list without a doubt. It is an absolute must-watch. There are 4 seasons as well, and every season for me is just as good as the last. Number 9 on the list is another comedy, and that is a program called That 70s Show. From the title, the show is obviously based on a load of characters in the 70s. It follows the life of a main character called Eric and his family and his friends and the things that they get up to. It's just a classic sitcom, and I just think it's so funny that it's just without a doubt worth a watch. It stars a young Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, as well as many other actors as well in there. It's just a really easy show to watch, really funny show to watch, something that you could put on in the background and get on with things, and it will never let you down. There are actually 8 seasons of this show. However, I would recommend not watching the 8th season. I got about 3 episodes into it and gave up on it because it hasn't got Eric in, who's one of the main characters, who's one of the funniest characters in the whole show, and I think it just sets a whole new tone that just doesn't work for it. However, don't let that discourage you. All the other seasons are brilliant. It never lets up. It just, for me, gets better as it goes along. Finally, that 10th place on my list, I could not do a series like this without talking about it, and that is Black Mirror. Black Mirror, for me, is one of the hardest hitting shows I've ever watched. Again, every episode is almost like a mini movie in what it does. It looks at kind of this dystopian world where technology has just increased, and it really looks into what our futures could be like, and it's quite scary, but it's so well done that you are just hooked on every episode. The other unique thing about it as well is that it doesn't flow from episode to episode. It's all kind of within the same world, I would expect, but it doesn't link like watching individual short films. There are 5 seasons of this show. A lot of big names have been in this. Most recently, the recent series, you've got Anthony Mackie in it, and you've also got Miley Cyrus in it as well. Well, that's it for my list of my top 10 favourite binge-worthy Netflix shows. I hope you enjoyed them. If you've got any more recommendations, feel free to hit me up, comment below. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.